Hi everybody, welcome. This is my video review of the C3 Strom Astro Pro e-bike. During this video I'm going to tell you how I came across this bike, mainly what I use it for. I'm going to tell you 4 or 5 cool things that I love about this bike. Hopefully tell you 4 or 5 cool things that they can improve upon. They're supposed to be bringing out a version 2 of this bike, and I'm hoping they make a few little tweaks and changes to this one to make it even better. Now let's start about how I came across this bike. Now this bike is only sold to Canada and the US, but I am here in sunny Perth, Western Australia. Which brings me on to the story of how I came about this bike. And then I saw a video review for this bike, and I just knew I had to have this bike. It just looked so cool. It was like nothing else I'd seen. So I contacted C3 Strom and said, look, can you sell me one of these? Send it to Australia? And they said no. It would just cost too much to ship one bike to Australia. So the dream was over. I went back looking in the Australian market for one. But in the meantime, a guy in Melbourne was setting up a new e-bike store. And he'd actually ordered 2 of these, this one and the grey one. And put them in the container and was shipping them to Melbourne. So C3 Strom, thankfully, got in touch with me and said, look, this guy's shipping them to Australia. Do you want his contact details? And can we pass your contact details on to him? And you can arrange a deal. So I said, yeah, great, do that. Anyway, cut long story short, got in touch with him, decided on the price. I shipped it from Melbourne to Perth, and that's why this bike is here in Perth, Western Australia. And it is one of only 2 bikes in the whole of Australia. Now, I'd like to say I use this bike to commute to and from work. The reason I don't commute every day is it's over an 80-kilometre round trip, which takes me about an hour and a half to get there, an hour and a half to get back. So it doesn't work. This is mainly my weekend. I use it at the weekend. The good thing about living here in Perth is the cycle paths are amazing. You can get from A to B, wherever you want to be, to somewhere else, just on the cycle paths. You don't have to go anywhere near a road. So I use it at weekends. Mostly, as I say, I drive along the coast, ride along the coast, along the beach even, along the Swan River, down by the Esplanade where all the boats are. It's just a great day out. Loads of coffee shops down there, and bars. Just get it to stop, get a drink, jump back on your bike. It's great. Now, let me tell you about some cool things about this bike. Firstly, obviously, is the way it looks. It's just so cool. The amount of people that stop me riding around this and like want to know where I got it from, more about it, what it is, how fast will it go, what's it like to ride. I love this cafe racer style, which is what we don't really have here in Australia. The other cool thing about this is the speed of it. This thing is so quick and it's got great torque. It's great for getting off from the lights. You haven't got the cars, chugging past you. It's great for hill starts. It's just great for getting out of trouble really quickly. The torque's there if you need it. I've actually had, in off-road mode, 58 kilometers per hour out this bike, which is about 35 mile an hour, I think. So yeah, this thing's quick. Really quick. Oh yeah, cool things. This bike has got indicators or turn signals. Now I don't know of any other e-bike on the market that has turn signals, which is pretty cool. They work on the front and they also work on the back. And the light is also a brake light, so when you press the brakes, you get a brake light as well, which is pretty cool. The other cool thing about this bike is the seat. This seat is so comfortable. It really is. It's gel filled. It's really, really comfortable. If you're riding on the road or on the cycle paths, it just glides over the bumps. Yeah, it's just so good, so nice. It also has a headlight, and this headlight has got a running light that goes round the side. It's also got a high and low beam, so it's great at night. It projects about 6 foot in front of the bike, so it really helps you see where you're going. I've actually added another light just so I can see a bit further down the road, because obviously if you're doing 58 kilometers per hour, you need to see a bit further down the road at night. But the fact that it's got a daytime running light and that high and low beam is really cool. Now, things I think they can improve on with this bike. Now, as we spoke about, the seat's great, really comfy, and it's great on the road. But it has an off-road mode. So if you put the bike into off-road mode, is when you can do the maximum speed. But the bike's not really designed to go off-road. It's got front suspension, but no rear suspension. Now, I've seen leaked pictures of the version 2 of this bike, And that bike does seem to have rear suspension. So if they're going to do that with the next version, that would be cool. C3 Strom have started calling it the version 2 or the V2. I hope they don't call it the V2. If history's taught us anything, V2 is not a good name for anything. So rear suspension, that would be cool. The other thing I mentioned, the indicators. Now the indicators are cool, the fact that they're on or off, you know, and it's great. But you don't know if you've left them on. There's no indication on the dash that you've left them on or that they're on. There's no noise from the indicators. So hopefully on the next version they can put something on the dash. I don't think a noise will work because when you're riding along you'll probably not hear a ticking noise anyway. But something on the dash to let you know you've left the indicator on, left or right. Or even if they made them double-sided. So if the light was on this side as well as the front, then you'd know if they were on or not. So hopefully they can do something like that with the next version. The other improvement I'd like them to make is, and this is a personal thing, because I'm 180 centimetres tall, the handlebar for me needs to be about 2 inches taller, about 50 mil higher, and then I'm not leaning forward as much, but that's a small thing really. The other thing I hope they do is add another battery. Now you can buy an extra battery for this bike and you strap it or you attach it to the rack at the back. There's actually a fixing plate that goes on, the battery slides in, and then if you run out of battery you take this one off and you change it with this one and you put that one back on the back. And the battery on the back, if they had a wire on it and somewhere to plug it in the back, and then on the dash if you run out of battery here you can just flick a switch onto this one and keep going rather than having to stop, swap them round. You'll notice I've added some aftermarket things to the bike, like the saddle bag, the wing mirrors, Bluetooth speaker, phone holder, etc. The reason I've done that is because C3 Strom don't sell this bike to Australia. They also don't sell any of their own accessories. So I've had to buy some aftermarket stuff, unfortunately. But it looks pretty good. I've got a lock down there as well and a bottle holder. So yeah, that's my video review of the C3 Astro Strom. I'm looking forward to the version 2 of this bike and seeing what they do with it and how they improve on this one, because this is a really good bike. But there is room for improvement. You know, it's the first one they've made. They've done a really good job with it, and I'm sure they can make the next one even better. So thanks for watching everybody, and remember, keep riding to freedom.